Hello, friends. This is Parag here, your host on Stay Strong podcast. Thank you very much for joining this podcast. It's my promise to bring you the world class information in the field of kettlebells, kettlebell sport, and strength and conditioning. Today, we have a guest from Ireland. He's my first Ireland athlete. His name is Keiran, and he's a software professional and simultaneously also manages his kettlebell sport. He started kettlebell lifting 14 years back, and he has played multiple world championships. He has played marathon, he has played 10-minute classic. We are actually going to see his training program. How does he train? How consistent he is in trainings? What kind of nutrition does he follow? And how does he also help other athletes to grow in kettlebell sport? Guys, please help me welcome Kieran from Ireland. Hello, friends. This is Parag here, your host. We have Kieran from Ireland today, and I'm quite excited to speak to him about his kettlebell journey. Over to you, Kieran. Please introduce yourself, your background, professional background, most important, and how did you get into kettlebell sport?
Sure. Thanks very much, Parag. So I'm based in the southeast of Ireland.
Okay.
I probably started kettlebells about 14 years ago. So it kind of, when I came across it first, it really appealed to me because I actually work as a software engineer.
Okay.
So I'm sitting all day. I'm actually at my desk at the moment now. So I'm here all day. So I find in the evenings, kettlebell training is ideal, you know. So just going back to when I started, a friend of mine actually called me one evening and said, "Have you heard of kettlebells?" And this must have been about 2008, 2009. And I had only heard of them because of the Biggest Loser UK TV show at the time. One of the trainers was using kettlebells.
Okay.
So I said, "Yeah, I have." And he said, "Well, I'm thinking of buying one." So I said, "Okay, I'll buy one too. Let's do it." And just as luck would have it, the retailer that was selling them from Dublin was selling competition kettlebells. Okay. So we both bought 16 kg bells. Okay. We started training together, and in his backyard or here in my place. So we'd alternate, and we were basically watching YouTube videos and that kind of stuff. And that was how I got started.
Okay. So it was basically not a formal introduction of kettlebell sport, but you basically started watching the videos and then probably got more towards it to lift it, right? So did some coach introduce the proper professional kettlebell sport to you, or how did you get started for competing?
So long story short, we were training together, and this was shortly after the economic crash in 2008. So another guy joined us who had lost his job, and so with the three of us were training together, and he decided to set up a club and kind of try and make some money out of it. So he rented a unit nearby, and he started with coaching. So we were training with him, and around that time a competition was hosted in Kilkenny, which is not far from here. Eddie Sheehan and Mark Stapleton hosted that, and I think that was the first ever competition hosted in Ireland. That was 2010, if I remember rightly. So he went up to that one and came back and told us all about it. And shortly after that, a coach in County Wexford, which is not far from here either, Mick Kelly, did a workshop with us. So he came down to our club, and he did a workshop with us and showed us the lifts. And very soon after that, we went to the first competition that he hosted, which was in 2011. And got kind of addicted, and there's a few of us, we got quite hooked on it quite fast, you know. So so we were competing with 16 kilo bells, and at the time I just thought lifting a pair of these for 10 minutes, I just thought you had to be like Superman, you know. So then you learn a little bit about the technique, and you start to pick up some tips, and a few years later, after training with the 16s, I contacted Eddie Sheehan about getting coaching. So he coached me and started to do up programs for me specifically for biathlon initially. So yeah, so by 2014 I went to my first world championship in Hamburg.
Yes, even I was there.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow,
Yes.
brilliant.
Yes.
That was a great weekend actually.
Yes.
So I still have the poster up upstairs for the seagull. So yeah, I competed over there. Actually, sorry, I'm not right. I was doing double long cycle over there with the 24s. There was a couple I think there were a couple of Russian guys there who did crazy numbers. So I came away from that without a medal. But shortly after that, I switched to biathlon, and he coached me for another few years on that as well. So so that got me kind of
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's where the first time I met Dave. And I think you were with the team.
Yes.
I think 4 or 5 people were there. I'm not sure how many people were there, but I think Ireland team was pretty big, like England.
Yeah, we had a good crew go over to that actually, if I remember. I can't remember how many people, but I think maybe there was 8 or 9 people lifting.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, we had good support. Yeah.
Yes.
That was really enjoyable.
Okay, so we'll go back a little bit. Did you had any sports background or fitness background before you get into kettlebell sport? Was kettlebell lifting comfortable for you at this age, or was it a pain?
Yeah, it's a good question. So as a teenager, I wasn't particularly sporty. I was more into music, and I just for health and fitness, I started getting more into sport when I was like 20, and actually I did taekwondo for quite a while through my 20s, and then from there I sort of was just doing gym work into my 30s, doing circuit training in the local gym, sort of aimless to a certain extent,
Okay.
Then when I hit 40, I started the connection with the martial arts is funny with kettlebells, but I started missing the martial arts training. So I started training with a jiu-jitsu club locally, actually Japanese jiu-jitsu, so more self-defense focused. So I was doing that for a couple of years, and then that was when I was in my early 40s when I got introduced to kettlebells. So started slowly but surely switching to that, to the extent that my jiu-jitsu coach is now in my kettlebell club.
Okay.
So yeah, so he trains kettlebells with all the time and competes as well.
Okay.
So so I had an interest in sports always, but the switch to kettlebells, then I would say I found it very difficult at first, but we didn't get correct coaching tips to start. So your wrists are getting sore, you're getting fatigue in your forearms. We weren't doing things quite right, but I really felt there was something to it, and it appealed to me. So I just thought I want to stay at it,
Okay. Okay. But I think it should have taken around like few months for you to get comfortable, right?
Yes. Yeah. And definitely.
Okay. So did you start with the marathon a little later? Earlier you were doing 10-minute classic. How did the transition happen?
Yes, we did. When I was doing the 10 minutes, mostly 10 minutes and 5-minute competitions. And when marathon got introduced, I just kind of opened a whole new set of opportunities, I felt, particularly for just that single bell work, that building endurance. And I think there was less of a barrier to entry for people I was training with, because to be honest, particularly lifting double kettlebells, with the club, I run a club now. So, and the club I run, some of the guys they just wouldn't want to do it, I train guys who are in their 40s and 50s, and we keep it to, I have to kind of sneak in some of the more disciplined lifts amongst the fitness work, if you know what I mean. Yes. So I do introduce doubles. I try and get everyone snatching a kettlebell correctly, but for the most part, everyone needs to feel like they're getting a good workout too. So single bell work really offers that, because there's more movement. There's less
Yes.
puffing and puffing in a rack position, if you know what I mean.
Yes,
For regular guys like in my age category, yeah,
Yes,
it's
yes.
more appealing, I think. So I found the marathon a great opportunity for broadening the audience for kettlebells.
Absolutely, yeah. It's more of endurance work, and well, it's not that easy also, because you need to catch up on the speed, and catching up on the speed can be really tolling. It can take a really good toll on your heart, and you need to be very well conditioned to switch the bells when you want to switch, and you have to be mentally very strong. Yeah, a lot of challenges. Yes,
it's equally as difficult, just in a different way, I suppose.
Yes. So how does your workout look like? Like, say you mentioned that you're working in a software company. So do you work out 3-4 times a week? And do you do also strength training? So if you can just
we work out together 3 times a week, and I think consistency is the key. So we work out 3 times a week, 52 weeks a year. So we kind of never miss, you know. And that's always been a key for me. Outside of that, this year particularly, I haven't been doing enough to supplement. You know, if I wanted to compete at a higher level, I'd need to do a bit more than I have been doing. The 3 weeks now, it's a busy life, so 3 weeks for me. And actually, I will admit that I play a bit of golf as well. So I do go for walks regularly, but I think, yeah, definitely, I would like to be doing a bit more strength training, a bit more cardio work, but I just don't have the time at the moment. So really, the bulk of the training that I get is those 3 sessions with the club.
Okay. So do you incorporate the strength training programs in your workout routine? That's my first question. And if so, is it really helping you get better in kettlebells? If not, that's fine. But I just wanted to understand what is your training program when it actually comes to lifting kettlebells. Is it only kettlebells, or it is lifting barbells? How it is?
Yeah, so it's much body weight and kettlebell work we do.
Okay.
So when I think of strength training, we kind of have a pentathlon focus for that. So we'll do strict presses, we'll do heavy swings, also deadlifting pairs of heavy kettlebells, but for higher reps.
Okay.
So there's no sort of max weight lifts or anything close to that. So, like for instance, last night I favor, when it comes to general physical fitness, I favor sort of micro circuits where you might have strict presses combined with a little core work, and then we'll do another little micro circuit which might be deadlifting a pair of heavy bells along with some swings. And then we will do an actual lift, like we might do a half snatch set, and depending on how close or far away we are to competitions, then I vary the weights and the intensity and the length of the sets that we do. So I'm always trying to keep everyone fit, but in trying to keep it interesting, keep the fitness going, and keep in touch with being able to do 5 to 7 minute sets of snatch or whatever it might be.
Okay. So going a little depth onto the programs, do you work out do you have kind of a training heart rate zones when you're basically working out? Say, for example, if you're working out a 10-minute set, does your heart rate is between like 140 to 160 beats per minute, something like that? Do you do like a micro programs, or do you just do the sets which basically challenges your heart? How does it really look?
Yeah, so I don't do it to that degree. What I would do is try to work in a certain zone by just asking everyone to stay at a certain pace. And we try and improve within that zone, but in a very broad brushstrokes. And we do check our heart rate from time to time, but I would say not enough. So I don't get very scientific about that. I'm always asking the guys how they're feeling on a particular night, how they're feeling after a set. It gives me a kind of an idea of how we're getting on and how we're doing. But it's not something I focus on very heavily in our training.
Okay. So these days, are you taking coaching with the coach, or are you doing it by yourself?
So because of I suppose, time constraints and the nature of the club, I sort of inherited a club, to be honest, because we all trained together in a gym. We had a coach here locally, and then he moved on. So because we were all wanting to continue, we bought kettlebells and we then started training together. And I sort of became the de facto coach at that point. So I've been doing that for quite a few years now. So for me, what I try and do, because we train together as a group, is that we all do the same thing, but with different weight kettlebells, obviously. So when we're coming closer to a competition, some of the guys who are not competing will be doing a very similar workout to me and some of the guys who are competing, but just much lighter kettlebells or, a lower pace. So that it just keeps us all motivated, keeps us all together. And it just seems to work very well. But for instance, I would like to, now and again focus on, say, biathlon for WKSF competition, but I would be on my own doing it. So it's just the way things have fallen with my club. That's just how it is,
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So this question would be related to, like, if you have had any kind of injuries earlier. If not, how do you see that sector? Like, for example, you said that you're coaching people now. So at this age, how do you manage the injuries? So do you do rehabilitation? How do you do that? If you can just highlight on it.
First thing I would say, when I was in my 30s, I played a lot of five-a-side soccer just to keep fit. And I was always get up in the morning to go downstairs, and I was like an old man, Whereas I'm doing kettlebell lifting over 11 years now, and no aches and pains. I don't have any of that. The two main pillars of that are, first of all, we actually spend quite a long time warming up when we're training. We'll do some light kettlebell work, we'll do some joint mobility, and then we'll do quite an involved stretch before we train. And also, I'm very strong on technique when we're lifting. So, snatching a kettlebell, whatever, or deadlifting a pair of kettlebells, whatever it might be, it's all technique. So for the most part, we find everyone's injury free,
So did you find any challenge at this age when you're lifting double 24s, which earlier when you're lifting and now you're lifting? So what I mean to say is, with the age, is your conditioning getting better? Or what is the difference between you training 6-7 years back and now? Is there more challenge, or is there less challenge?
Yeah, it's extraordinary for me because I've improved along one lift or other every year, and every time I compete, which sort of does amaze me. And a lot of that, I think, is that you just build up a competency while you're lifting. And you're each time you're in the hot zone or the red zone with a lift, you're a little more calm than the last time, because I think it's like an expertise that you've sort of assimilated. So I find at the moment, I know I'm coming close to that stage in my life where I probably will start to slow down a little. It hasn't happened yet. I find after training, it's always one of the main strengths I found from what I've been doing is that I'm never fatigued the next day after training. And I've guys who mightn't train for a while, and then they come back to train, and the next day they're sore or they're tired, and it just never happens. And probably it doesn't happen because I never miss training,
Absolutely.
I haven't missed training for nearly a decade now. I've just been going all the time. Well, you see, the big plus for us is that it's social as well. So the group we meet, we'll train, we'll have a coffee and a conversation. So we make a little bit of an event out of our 3 sessions every week. So it's always enjoyable, and I think that's a big part of it too. And we're all accountable to each other. Everyone wants to be there for everyone else. So that has worked very well. But yeah, so in terms of slowing up or anything, I find myself, I'm probably, a couple of years ago, I might have thought, oh, I want to see about snatching 32 kilos, maybe try a 5-minute set or a 7-minute set. I'm more reluctant to do that now. I don't feel that for a physical reason. Maybe mentally, I'm just more aware of the age I'm getting to. So yeah, I probably feel I'm becoming a little more careful. But other than that, no, physically, I don't feel a reason for slowing down.
Okay. So how does your nutrition look like? I mean to say is, you said you recover very well. So
Yeah.
nutrition plays a very important role. So do you have a combination of good supplementation in the nutrition, or do you really take only supplementations, like for example, protein shakes or something which is like vitamins, etc., only during the competition season? How does it look?
Yeah, so I would say very basic. I mean, I try to eat well.
Okay.
I always make sure I have a decent breakfast. I do snack on fruit more than trying to stay away from sweet things or anything packed. But I would have a very moderate sort of approach to my diet. I mean, in terms of supplementation at the moment, it is literally like some vitamin D, which in this part of the world at this time of the year, we get very little sunlight. So vitamin D is important, cod liver oil, and that's pretty much it. I will occasionally take a protein shake, but I'm quite slack. I'd like to be better at that, have some protein straight after lifting, but honestly, I just don't do it that often. So no, very, very rudimentary, just trying to eat healthy meals. That would be it.
Are you a vegetarian or non-vegetarian?
Non-vegetarian, so I do eat meat. Yeah.
Okay, so the frequency of non-vegetarian is pretty every day. How it is? Or do you have a combination of vegetarian and non-vegetarian food? Do you eat meat every day? Like having a vegetarian meal in the lunch, probably meat in the dinner, or do you have meat in every meal? How is it?
Well, it wouldn't be meat in every meal, but I mean, if there wasn't meat there, it might be eggs or cheese or something like that. There would be something. It wouldn't be. It wouldn't be just veg. I'd say. Fair, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, great. Do you have any negative experience about kettlebell training?
Negative experience? No, I would say overall for me, and it's funny the way I used to look at it, because there's times when the training got hard and you're trying to motivate yourself. And I was thinking about it there a while back. If I was to stop kettlebells, what would that do for me? And it would be all negative. I'd be meeting less people, I'd be traveling less, I'd be less fit, that kind of stuff. So for me, it has been all positive.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why obviously I continue to do it.
Okay. Tell me one point or one single answer is that the biggest thing you have got a positive change in yourself when you started lifting kettlebells. It might be anything, mindset, anything. What do you feel?
Well, so the one probably sounds silly thing that springs to mind for me is when I'm going up steps or stairs, I feel just my fitness really plays a part. If I'm looking at a high stairway, I can just power up it. And I think that's just the fitness in the quads and that kind of stuff, which is nice when you're turning 56. It's nice to just feel that. Or if I'm going for a hill walk, I always feel that I can really go, So that has always been something from particularly kettlebell jerk or long cycle, where you're jerking the bells. That sort of fitness that has given me.
Okay.
Other than that, I would say, that sort of mental strength aspect has been a big positive.
Okay. How has kettlebell helped you in your professional career?
That's not easy to say now. I'm not sure how I would answer that in my professional career.
In the senses, for example, probably your concentration has gotten better, or probably your body language has gotten better. Maybe you have got such certain kind of experience, which basically your colleagues must have noticed in you that, hey, Kieran, you're looking quite different since you started lifting. So that kind of positive change, if you have got any experience.
Yeah, I suppose all of that. And what I noticed as well, I changed job recently, and
Okay.
it comes up in conversation, and people are always interested about it, particularly when you've gone to compete internationally. I think
Yes.
that's always a really good talking point when you're are meeting with clients, or often I will have to go to meetings with external people, and you get discussing it. It's always a great conversation starter. So I find that very good. Yeah, and my previous job, actually, the CEO of the company, his wife was actually in my club. She's away at the moment, but she actually joined, and she's a really good lifter as well. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that was a positive too.
Great, great, great. Wow, that's interesting.
Mm.
I would like to know your best kettlebell lifting numbers in all formats: biathlon, long cycle, and marathon, done nationally and internationally. Now, your number, probably if the national is best, then probably you can tell me that. But
Yeah, sure. So when I was doing biathlon with Eddie Sheehan was coaching me, just as I was turning 50, actually, in the nationals, I jerked a 24 kg, 83 reps. I think that was my best doubles. Yeah, that was my best doubles set. Probably what stands out for me when I think of double long cycle was the marathon. I did a half hour with the half marathon with the 16s.
double 16?
Yeah, double 16. Yeah, so that was 254.
Okay.
Which I was really happy with that at the time. I did two sets actually over in Keiran, Spain. I did 248, I think. Which I was a little disappointed with that because I'd done higher in Ireland. But in snatch then this year in Porto, I did 165 snatch in the open category,
Wow.
which got me a bronze. So I was really happy with that because I don't focus on these lifts anymore. As I say, I feel because with the club and as I described, we all just train together and we do stuff together. But as we're coming close to competition, I will just start to try and do a bit more in terms of focus for a few weeks before a competition. So I've been really happy to see improvements in those numbers as well. Other than that, let's see, I've done half marathon, full marathon in terms of long cycle and half snatch. And I just can't remember the numbers on that now. I did 600 and something long cycle in an hour with a 24 kg in Antequera.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, that's it.
Wow, that's great, great. So nowadays, are you training for marathon or are you training for classic events? 10-minute classic.
We're sort of aiming at the pentathlon for IKMF next year in, I think it's April.
Okay, okay.
So yeah,
So you're training for pentathlon, okay.
Yeah, so for Pent, yeah.
Okay, okay.
And also I look to just keep my hand in with 10-minute snatch as well for WKSF for next year as well.
That is in Hungary.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you going?
Mostly, yeah. Being the key member in India, so I would really love to travel.
Yeah. Great. Yeah.
Great. So yeah, wow, that's really great, Kieran. I mean, I have also got a lot of deep insight because now earlier the podcast we're doing was we were interviewing women above 45 to motivate women in India to lift kettlebells, and I've done more than 35, and now simultaneously I'm starting this podcast to interview men above 50 to have men above 40 to get into kettlebell sport in India.
Right.
So yeah, your information is definitely going to help a lot of viewers who are going to actually see this podcast. Great. So thank you very much. I would like to, if you can just share a message for the viewers. What is your experience based on this 14 years with the kettlebell sport? If you can give a strong message to the viewers.
So firstly, for health and fitness, I just think it's unparalleled. I think it's the great secret of the fitness world. I think the community is fantastic and supportive because Everyone wants to see everyone do well, which has always been great. For guys over 40, I think your first impression when you see somebody lifting something very impressive, you might think, oh my God, I'll never do that. You will amaze yourself if you're patient and consistent. You will amaze yourself with what you'll achieve. Give yourself a year, 2 years, and you won't believe what you'll be able to do. You just need to stick at it and be patient. Don't lift too heavy too early, and do what your coach says.
Absolutely. Great. That's a great message. Great. So thank you very much, Kieran, for this podcast. And I wish you good luck for your upcoming competitions.
Thanks very much. That was great. Thank you.
Thank you.